Park Civic Association hosted its annual event honoring our men and women in uniform, our very own hometown heroes, on Saturday, February 4th at the Bridgeview Yacht Club in Island Park. Laura Hassett, former IPCA president, was the master of ceremonies. Honorees at the event included Maurice B. Sparky Mays of the United States Navy. Sparky Mays, now 90 years young, was born on April 27, 1926 in Springfield, Tennessee, and was raised by a single mother during the Great Depression. He enlisted in the Navy in 1943 at the age of 17. He landed in Scotland in the spring of 1944, where he was assigned to an amphibious assault vessel and was part of the June 6, 1944 D-Day landing at Omaha Beach, Normandy, on the coast of France. Mays was one of 160,000 men who crossed the English Channel that day in what was and remains the largest seaborne invasion in military history. Mays and his LCTA landing craft tank armored crew came under heavy fire but made it to shore and helped to liberate northwestern Europe. Honoree Stephen Richardson was born in Brooklyn in 1966, joined the United States Army in 1992, trained in Georgia at Fort Gordon in telecommunications, and was stationed at Camp Darby, which is near Pisa in Italy, where he worked repairing communications equipment aboard vehicles damaged in the Gulf War in Iraq. Stephen worked for Citibank for 22 years, and he and his wife Farah bought a home near the beach in Island Park, where they've raised 8 children. Honoree Francis Frank Nicholas was born on September 6, 1942, in Richmond Hill, New York. His parents, Canio and Anna, immigrated from Italy when they were children. Frank followed in his brother's footsteps and enlisted in the United States Navy the summer after he graduated Oceanside High School in 1960. One of Frank's assignments was aboard the USS Exultant minesweeper, ported in Charleston, South Carolina. While in dry dock, the ship suffered an engine fire that resulted in the deaths of 5 of its crew. Shortly after, Frank was transferred to the USS Fearless and set out on a 6-month tour of the Mediterranean that took him to Portugal, Spain, France, Italy, and Greece. Frank worked for Lilco for 35 years and retired as a work coordinator supervisor. He and his bride, Joanne, were married in 1971 and raised 3 children in Island Park, where he was a fire chief. He's the proud grandfather of 3. We at Neighborhoods on Long Island TV join the village of Island Park and surrounding communities in expressing our gratitude to all of these men for their service. Since 2009, with the community's help, the IPCA has collected more than 3,000 pounds of goods for care packages that were sent overseas and have raised more than $15,000 for the Soldiers Angels organization. The Island Park Civic Association also recognizes and supports the Long Beach Waterfront Warriors, which has been bringing wounded veterans, along with their families, from Walter Reed Hospital to Long Beach in the vicinity for week-long visits in the summers, packed with events and day trips, and a weekend during the winter holiday season.
Welcome to our new segment, Clearly Fake News, in which we bring you stories that are entirely made up in the hopes that viewers will find this content more acceptable than actual news. In a departure from our Clearly News format, we truthfully tell you that the reason for our Clearly Fake News segments is, in all honesty, so that you'll be watching our program and support our advertisers, who are in fact real. Real advertisers offering real products and real services. But back to Clearly Fake News. In our first story, now that the UFC, Ultimate Fighting Championship, or cage fighting, is legal in New York, the first bouts will be coming to Long Island. The inaugural fight will pit the entire board of the Long Beach Chamber of Commerce against last year's Chamber Board. The second bout is a tag team fight in the style of the old tag team wrestling and will feature on one team all local residents with New York Rising Hurricane Sandy claims, pitted against their New York Rising caseworkers. This assuming that the caseworkers remain employed for at least as long as the 3-round bout. In our second story, residents have been excited by the new apartment complex that are being built all over the city. Exciting stuff. Good for families who live in them. Good for the stores who will enjoy new shoppers. Good for the tax rolls. Oh wait, the IDA has been lobbied by local influential construction companies and unions, and there will be no tax benefit to the city. Representatives of the contractors explain that the residents should consider themselves lucky to be living in the shadow of these projects. This just in, the leadership of all area environmental organizations have announced that they are giving up, leaving their jobs, and throwing in the towel, which in this case would be a machine washable and therefore recyclable towel that would not impact the waste system. In the story, of concern to anyone who plans on lifting their homes that have not yet done so, new BFE, base flood elevation requirements, have been cited as being in violation of FAA regulations because they apparently interfered with the flight paths of planes taking or landing in Kennedy Airport. Think about it. You get it, don't you? We'd like to take this exact time to thank our new sponsors, keeper of absolutely precision timing and on-time scheduling, the Long Island Railroad.